Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to chart a course, a map, if you will, through the core principles of leadership, all inspired by the work of John C. Maxwell. We're going to frame this whole thing as a personal journey to success. Your journey.
Okay, so let's just dive right in with this big foundational idea, influence. Have you ever really stopped to think about the influence you have? It's something every single one of us has, and we use it every single day, a lot of the time, without even realizing it. It's kind of like this invisible force that shapes, well, everything. Our conversations, our relationships, our whole lives. And you know what? That right there, that's the starting point for this whole journey.
So, that brings us to the first real leg of our journey, answering that call to lead. And look, it all starts with understanding what leadership really is, once you strip away all the stuff we think it is.
And you know, Maxwell's definition here is it's beautifully simple. For just a second, let's forget about titles or positions or even whether someone is a quote-unquote good person. Leadership at its absolute core is just the ability to get followers. That's it. It's a neutral force, right? It can be used for amazing good or for really terrible things, but that core mechanism, it's always the same: influence.
And this, right here, is so crucial. This is where we have to separate the myths from the reality. Come on, we've all seen it, haven't we? Someone gets a fancy title on their business card, and they just expect everyone to fall in line. But it just doesn't work that way. Look at Abraham Lincoln's story from the militia. He actually started as a captain, but by the end of it all, he was a private. That title meant nothing without real, genuine influence. The title didn't make him a leader. Only earned influence could do that.
Okay, so let's keep going and see how this all starts to build on itself. Think about it. Before you set off on any big trip, any big journey, what do you need? You need a map and you need a compass. Well, for a leader, that same idea applies. Your internal guidance system, your inner compass, is built from three absolutely essential, totally non-negotiable parts.
First things first, your dream. That's your map. And I'm not talking about just some fuzzy, wishful thinking. No, a clear, powerful vision of where you're headed is an incredibly practical tool. It's the thing that helps you figure out what you have to give up in order to get where you're going. It makes all those tough decisions so much clearer. So, I gotta ask, what's the dream that's guiding you?
And that brings us to the compass itself, your attitude. I absolutely love this idea from Chuck Swindoll. He said life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. And wow, isn't that the truth? We can't change what happened yesterday. We can't always control what's coming tomorrow, but our reaction, our attitude, that is 100% in our control. And that one thing, that's what really defines the entire journey. And finally, we have our true north, the one point that your compass should always be pointing to. And that is integrity. Now, what does that really mean? It just means being whole, undivided. It means your words and your actions actually match up. You are who you say you are, no matter where you are or who you're with. Simple as that. Because without that, you can never, ever earn the trust you need to lead. People have to know that what they see is what they get.
All right, so every journey, every single one, has its tough spots, right? Rough, unexpected terrain. And for a leader, how you choose to navigate those inevitable problems, those setbacks and failures, well, that's what truly defines your path. That's what determines if you actually reach your destination.
So, let's start with a really important question. Think about it. When you are faced with a huge obstacle, a massive problem that's blocking your path, what's the real problem you need to solve? And Maxwell's answer here is, well, it's a total game changer. He says the problem isn't the problem. That's right. The obstacle itself can only stop you for a little while. It's your reaction to it. That's what can stop you for good. You and only you get to decide if a setback is just a detour or if it's the end of the road. And if you want a powerful and honestly a chilling example of what a wrong reaction can cost, look at this story. You've got a highly trained professional flight crew. They become completely obsessed with a tiny, totally insignificant problem, a 75-cent light bulb. And while they're all focused on this one little thing, they completely miss the catastrophic reality of what was actually happening to the plane. They lost all perspective, and it cost them and their passengers absolutely everything. So this is how we have to think about failure. It's not the end. It's not some final judgment on who you are or what you can do. No way. Failure is just feedback. It's a critical and, unavoidable part of any meaningful journey. It's your chance to learn, to adapt, and to begin again, only this time a little bit smarter. Any great journey is almost never a solo mission, which brings us to your crew, your team, the people you choose to bring along with you. They will literally determine how far you can go. And that's why developing them, empowering them, has to be a leader's #1 priority.
So the big question is, where do you focus your energy? Your time is your most valuable asset, right? Well, the 80-20 rule, the Pareto principle, is a fantastic guide here. It says you should focus your energy on developing the top 20% of the people in your organization. Now, why just them? Because that top 20% will produce 80% of your results. It's not about playing favorites. It's about making a strategic investment in the people who will have the biggest impact.
But what about when things don't go so well? When you have to have a tough conversation? Well, there's this simple technique called the sandwich method, and it is incredibly effective. You start with something positive and genuine, then you address the issue clearly and directly, and then you end with more encouragement. You're basically wrapping that tough conversation in 2 layers of positive reinforcement. It's a way to correct someone and build them up at the same time.
And that brings us to the end of our map, the ultimate destination of this whole leadership journey. And you know what? It's not about getting a certain title or reaching some corner office. The real purpose, the ultimate goal of leadership, is about what you leave behind.
There's this really powerful story that gets right to the heart of it. It reminds us of this one essential truth, that big, grand desire we all sometimes have to change the world. Well, it has to start with the much harder, much more humble work of changing ourselves first.
And this, right here, is the ultimate goal. Look, you can be a leader who just produces followers, and that's fine, but your success is always limited to your own reach. The moment you leave, it's over. But if you become a leader who produces other leaders, that changes everything. You multiply your influence exponentially. You create a future, a legacy of unlimited potential that just keeps growing long after you're gone. And that, right there, is the highest calling of leadership.
So there you have it. The map is laid out for you. The compass is in your hand. The terrain is waiting. This journey, it's yours for the taking. The only question left is the one that only you can answer for yourself.